repairs, mounting, balancing, and on top of it, they're willing to do the oil changes and they're willing to do the brakes, batteries, etc. while they're there. What are your thoughts on that? And what are you guys doing at your dealership to help combat that?
Sure. Hi, Jason. First, thanks for having me on. Um, I think that COVID has really trained us as a society to have things brought to us. Have we've ease of business. So while we don't have a sprinter van, we do have pickup and delivery because let's be honest, what's most important to people is their time. So during COVID, like you said about the tea, I relate it as, DoorDash. People will pay $25 if they don't have to leave their house for a hamburger. They're home in their comfy clothes, watching TV, and knock on the door, and there's their food. So we, to keep that retention up, want to offer that same service, going to pick up their vehicle, whether it be at work, whether it be at home, wherever it is. So let's face it, you're at work, 8 to 10 hours a day? Your car sits in the parking lot. So we try to capitalize on that. Go to your work, pick up your car. You don't skip a beat. So you get out of work and you're off to a sporting event, you're off to the grocery store, you're off to whatever you want to do, but you don't have to worry about servicing your vehicle. So customer service, we train our advisors to retain the business no matter what it takes. Because let's be honest, we've all been a little spoiled this past year, having groceries delivered, having food delivered. So why not have your car serviced while you're at work or at home and you don't have to take that extra time to do it?
No, I think that's great. And I mean, you work at a Honda store, correct?
I do,
Yeah.
yes.
And my background's in Toyota. And I know that, from a Toyota and Honda perspective, we're very fortunate, right? Our car sales are high. We get sell a lot of used cars at the dealerships. So therefore, we kind of have this complacency that we have a built-in set of business. So the fact that you're thinking about going out and using a mobile type service like that and doing that, to basically prospect customers to ensure that you're giving them every option to come back into your store. I think that's the way you need to be thinking right now. Again, like I said, when we first kicked this off today, you need to think like you're a startup and you got to be willing to do some things that maybe you weren't willing to do a few years ago. I know in my background with Toyota, I can't think of one dealer that really wanted to get into mobile servicing. I mean, we talked about it, it was always there, but we had dealers that maybe at best would reach out to the local businesses in their area and offer some type of a service to help the customer or help the employees of that business bring their cars in. But actually going out to your customers, like you said, like a DoorDash, that's great. Where do you see your business going next?
So I really feel like that is definitely the way of the future. I mean, everything is at your fingertips. So I feel that we are going to continue to grow this service and tap into hospitals and schools and factories, and so that is going to take on a life of its own. So I feel we're going to continue to build on this pickup and delivery, and we offer it at no charge. We've kind of gone back and forth. Do we charge? Don't we charge? But really, with COVID and the pandemic, it made sense not to charge. So that's another service that we offer for free. We come, we pick it up, and we have a texting app so that we can communicate. They can pay over the secured line. So there's really a no touch, seamless operation, and I see us growing that over the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think it's going to be huge. I think you said something there that's it's very important for everybody to hear. You say it's a free service that we offer, which
Hmm.
in our world we don't like to. We don't talk free, right?
Right,
Nothing's free.
right.
We don't ever want to give anything away. But the reality is we have to start thinking like that in skinnier margins or no margins, where we're giving away some service that customers want. I don't mean service like actual repair work, but service to the consumer because their expectations they're going to get it. I mean,
Correct.
they're getting it from everybody else. If we want to continue to play ball, we're going to have to think a little differently. And so, I mean, that's amazing that you guys are doing that. I think that's going to be huge for you guys as you move forward. Absolutely huge.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Thank you for coming on today. You know, talking about where we're at with apps and services where customers are using things at their fingertips. I know that Jack at Tri County Toyota and CDJR is using a program from Smart Tech. It's the rewards program, Jack. And do you want to come on and tell us a little bit about what you're doing there to help bring in your customers?
Oh, absolutely, Jason. First and foremost, thank you for having me. It's excited to be here. Smart Tech has a rewards company that customers get to earn points on servicing their vehicle. It has been a tool that I've used in my career, not only here but at past dealerships, over and over again. And who doesn't love rewards points? I mean, I think everybody, even on this panel, uses a credit card that they can obtain points on and get credit on, and we'll buy a pack of gum just to get 2 points, on a credit card. So customers have really gravitated toward this program, and it's been a huge success for us. And they're coming, customers will come in and go, well, how many points do I have? Because that's going to be a deciding factor as to whether I'm going to get my car serviced today or not, or am I going to spend the extra money? When they know they can obtain those points and get credits for those points, it's become a phenomenal tool for us. And Scott and the team over there have made it real easy for our customers to utilize that program with our DMS.
That sounds great. And then, so you're giving them points. How does that affect your discounts on the drive? Are you seeing discounts go down? The way I think about it is, if you're giving out rewards points, correct me if I'm wrong, but now you're actually discounting, quote unquote, your best customers, right? Because obviously the more they spend, the more points they're going to get, right? And then that's then money that they can use on future services. I mean, forever, I've always heard that, and seen, unfortunately, that the people that scream the loudest get the biggest discount, right? So that's got to work out really well for you guys, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It has worked out. And the thing is, we accrue, for every car for the rewards points. So it really doesn't affect the advisor and really gets their buy-in, because, sometimes as I come from the counter, so sometimes advisors like, no, I'm not giving you that discount because it's going to cost me money. So the advisors are really able to buy in, and Scott and the team have really done a good job of making it easy to use, because as we know, if it's not an easy tool to use, the writers will not use it. So it's right there in front of their face. It pops up. It lets them know what the customer has as they're writing them up, what they have available in service points and in body shop points and everything. And it's been a really good tool.
And then, are you able to utilize this program with your BDC or with whatever marketing group that you're using to actually get that messaging out to consumers?
Oh, yes, absolutely. The reporting that comes with this, that the BDC uses to reach out to customers to let them know, hey, you have X amount of points. The BDC has been able to utilize that through text message, emails, and let them know. It's worked out. It's worked out great.
That's great, because the reports have to be great, because then ultimately what you're doing is profiling your customers, right?
Yes.
So you're literally able to see how valuable a customer is, because you can see how many points they have in the reporting tool, right?
Absolutely.
So the more points they have, the more they've spent with you, and therefore more of a reason to go back and get them, and or with COVID, see why they're not coming back.
Correct.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Have you thought about, or are you doing any prepaid maintenance plans or anything like that you have? What have you done in those regards?
Yes. Then that's the second part. That's the second part of what I wanted to discuss, is that, we have our own prepaid maintenance program here at the dealership, where the customers are able to get their next service after Toyota Care for their 30 to 35, their 40, and I package that together to our store, and it keeps them, the plus with that is that it keeps them grounded to your store. They have to come back and get it redeemed, which comes with free towing, free lockout. And they're also, while they buy that package, even the money that the package costs, they're redeeming some points also. And the Smart Tech was able to monitor that program for us when we wanted to build it, so that the advisors know when the customers are coming in, how many services they have left. They say, okay, Mr. Jones is here. He's got he had his 30 back in April, and now it's November, and he gets his 35, and he's got 3 more left. So we made it really easy to use this tool, and the prepaid maintenance programs have really worked as part of, I think, a huge retention tool for us and a big win-win.
Well, that has to be great, because I mean, obviously with my background with Toyota, I'm very familiar with Toyota Care, and then obviously Toyota Care Plus would be the next option out there. But as I think back to when I worked with Toyota, I mean, I do distinctly remember dealers talking about the price point of Toyota Care Plus. It was a great value for what you were paying, but getting the customer to come out of pocket that very day when they're probably already there paying for another service cut, a little pricey for even the Toyota customers. So the fact that you have your own private label prepaid maintenance that brings them back to you at a lesser price point, that's great. That's great. Now, are you still selling your OEM PPM? Are you selling Toyota Care Plus, or do you offer like either or pitch?
No, I just nope. We just sell ours, and the reason we just sell ours, it's funny because you've worked for Toyota, Jason, so you knew back in the day, Akio Toyota had this for a few years. He was going around talking about the best in town, and that theory holds true, I think, to every dealership, because if you have your own package in your own town, your own customers will come back to you, and that's what you want, and that's what you want, and that's what you want. So no, we've done well. We're actually expanding on that to higher mileage vehicles, and it's worked out pretty well for the few that we've done, and we're looking to do a lot more.
Absolutely. I think that kind of draws back with what I talked about with Annie and with the Alex, as like whether you're talking about the expensive tea and the DoorDash analogy that we were talking about, how giving that local flavor, that local service to our consumers that we're going above and beyond with, or having the bedside manner and walking them through what all their repairs are in a very clear and concise, methodical way, so they don't think that you're trying to get everything out of them today. We're just going to keep building on this one by one and slowly just start earning that trust of our consumers and getting that retention, which we all are looking for and striving for. So thanks so much for that, Jack. Absolutely. And this is actually a perfect segue over to Stephen, because I know that his key forte is talking about PPMs, and I know you're doing some other interesting things at I-10 Toyota. Would you like to elaborate on that a little bit today, Stephen?
Yeah, thank you, Jason. Basically, to get back to the points that Jack was making, the PPM is going to tie them into your store, and what we've got to look at, we're just getting out of this pandemic, and it's how do you make your fixed operations pandemic proof or recession proof, etc. And the first and foremost is getting those clients to have that tie into your store. Prepaid maintenance, yes, you are going to have them coming out of pocket, whether it is on top of another service or just be able to buy in advance, but is a great way to tie them into your own facility. You are getting that opportunity to look at it, and we've got so much competition, not amongst ourselves, not amongst the other dealers, but with the aftermarket community, getting creative new ways to get those dealership customers. We need to be able to retain every opportunity we can. So you're not trying to make a fortune on these PPMs. You're trying to get that retention in. So one of the points that I hit home with my advisors is we've got two great tools that tie them into our store. You've got the prepaid maintenance. I'm also big on the financing option. Toyota offers a credit card that now gives them points to tie them back into our store as well. So why not sell the prepaid maintenance and get them to finance it on the Toyota credit card? We'll get two for one. But it's what ideas, what tools are in our toolbox that we can use, we could pull out to be creative and think outside the box. How is it that we're tying them into our location and then keeping them there with wowing them with the service that we provide? But when they have that choice of, oh, I just want to go down the street, oh, I'm just going to go in and hit the Jiffy Lubes or wherever, it's no, I've already got this paid for. I'm going to go in and I'm going to go see my local dealer. I'm going to go in there and I don't have to come out of pocket today. We still get the opportunity to inspect it. We get to look it over. And like Alexandra was saying, hey, maybe we prioritize it out. Maybe they don't want to do the credit card option, and we can come up with a structure of what's the most immediate right now. But if we're not looking at that car, if we're not getting them back into our store, we don't have that opportunity. Going back to thinking outside the box, we tried to get creative. And one of the other items that we noticed that we can get them in and get those extra opportunities, maybe the person that's not necessarily going to buy the prepaid maintenance, but we offer a lifetime alignment. And they purchase it up front for one fee, and then for the life of the vehicle, every 6 months, they're getting an alignment for free. So it again gives us that opportunity. The guest gets a value out of it. but we also get to be that one that's taking the look at the vehicle, that's going through and offering them that multi-point inspection. So that way we can tie them in with this complimentary service that they purchased up front and keeps bringing them back to the local dealership.
No, that's huge. And a dealer profit center, that's what we do, is prepaid maintenance. So we do have a lot of structures like that, and then we work with dealers like yourself on. And I can talk from the Toyota aspect that yes, when I worked for Toyota, we definitely pushed Toyota Care Plus, but there were dealers doing private label prepaid maintenance that was for their particular auto group or dealership or whatever. At the end of the day, the OEMs, they want the retention. They want the customers coming back to your store because they know that the more times they service with you, the more apt they are to buy that next new or used car with you guys. So,
Right.
the dealers that I worked with when I was still with Toyota, I told them all the time, yeah, absolutely. You pitch Toyota Care Plus at the one price, and then also have yours, if you're going to sell it, at a different price. Now you have an either or option for the consumer. Because at the end of the day, if you don't sell them, using Toyota as the example, if you don't sell them Toyota Care Plus, well, they're gone. So wouldn't you rather have something there available for them, maybe at a cheaper price point that you could get them in if it's just for, 3 quote unquote oil changes, 3, tire rotations and a multi-point inspection. Let's just get them back for the basics, get that car up in the air, and let's see what we can do to help them out. No, I think
You're
that's
100% right.
dead on correct.
Absolutely. Give them the options. Each of them are going to have the value. So not everybody is going to be able to go into that same box. Maybe they, for whatever reason, maybe they just want this other option. But if we're just trying to sell everybody just one item, we're going to miss out on those opportunities. And the whole key to this, like you said, it's retention. So put out those different options, whether it's private label or whether it's through the OEM. Get those options together and give them the choice, whatever it's going to take to get them tied into your store.
All right, and now let's go ahead and let's introduce Randy Brinkman of Randy Brinkman Solutions. I kind of have a long history with Randy. When I worked with Toyota, they actually brought Randy in to train us little reps. So I had Randy coming in with his hammer, trying to get us loading our lips with all these great speeches about the financial statement, and then go get my butt kicked by the general manager when I pulled out the financial statement. So, but Randy's a wealth of knowledge. I always enjoyed when he came in and started teaching when he was with an ADA Academy prior, and now that he's actually out on his own doing his thing. So with further ado, Randy, you there?
I am. Hey, how are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Wonderful, Randy.
Everything that I've heard from my team members on this panel is spot on, and it's all brilliant. But the one thing that we have to do in our dealerships is we have to define purpose. And I'm not sure that we do. A lot of times we get some confusing messages. We talk about retention, and we have to ask ourselves a question. What's more important, today's money or tomorrow's money? And I think the answer for retention is tomorrow's money. Well, we have a lot of historic metrics that we live and breathe by, and we actually set pay plans around them. And if we're not careful, we could have some problems with our retention just because of things that are in the background that we don't realize. In seminars all the time, I'll ask people, how many of you have meetings on a regular basis? And the hands go up. And I say, no. How many have meetings on a regular basis? Are they meetings or are they gatherings? People get, no, they're meetings. I said, of course they are, because you call them. But let me ask you a question. Do you really have anything to say? And better off, are you confusing your people? Are you telling people to do things that's against their pay plans? Or are you actually telling them to do things that's mathematically wrong and you're not even correct? So we get into historic metrics of hours per hour and effective labor rate. My opinion, these metrics are outdated and they're very, very damning in dealerships. They're huge in composites with associations and things of this nature, but there's a problem. If you want to get more retention, you're looking for more maintenance. If you're looking for more maintenance, these are going to be items that are going to absolutely lower your effective labor rate. The more you sell off your multi-point inspections, generally when you're successful with same-day selling on your multi-point inspections, you're lowering the effective labor rate. Talk about things to bring people back for retention and so forth. We talk about coupons. Do you have coupons that you put out to help bring people back? I said, absolutely. I said, well, how do the coupons work? Well, they're fantastic. Do you get a lot of them? They said, yeah, great. I said, well, do you realize you just lowered the effective labor rate as a manager? I have 2 technicians standing in front of me, both capable and available to do the job. And I'm the advisor, and I just wrote an RO. And I have these 2 folks standing in front of me, both capable and available. Matter of fact, if I put a stopwatch on them, they'll both begin and end at the exact same second. So there's no question about skill level, ability, or even attitude for that matter. One makes $30 a flat rate hour, and one makes $15 a flat rate hour. So I asked the question, if I dispatch you to the higher paid $30 an hour tech, what will be the impact on my effective labor rate? And most people will say it will go down. And I'm like, oh, that's your gross profit retention. It has nothing to do with your effective labor rate. Your effective labor rate is the sale price divided by the time paid. Doesn't matter what they make. So retention items tend to bring these metrics down. Hours per RO. And we have pay plans around these things. For my money, if we have a pay plan that has a bonus feature or an accelerator around hours per RO or effective labor rate, you're probably in trouble. If you get me higher than 2 hours per RO, I'll give you a bonus. I'm at 2.01 hours per RO. I'm in the bonus. The next customer that comes into the dealership is a brand new customer for their first service. How much time am I going to get on that? I've got to walk them, because if I take them, I'm out of the bonus now. I mean, it's no different than the used car department. Give me to $2,500 a copy, average on your used cars, and I'll give you a $1,000 bonus. I'm at 2,501. So I'm in the bonus program. My next customer is here on the oldest car in stock, and it's on the internet for an $1,800 profit. I got to walk them, because if I take them, I lose out in the bonus. Hours per RO. Give me to 2 hours per RO. All right, give me just a second here to see how I can do this. I've got 10 ROs I'm going to write today to keep it easy. Means I got to write 20 hours. My first 6 customers are the first time in. How much time am I going to get on that? I'll give you a whole hour. That's 6 hours. That means I got to get another 14 hours out of the next 4 customers. It's not going to happen. So the only way I can hit some of these metrics is through defection. Well, defection is just the opposite of what we're trying to do with retention. So you've got to really ask yourself a question. What am I really after? And at the end of the day, it's about total hours. The average tech would like to turn 10 hours in an 8-hour day. Let's not make this difficult. Just simply put a 0 behind the number of techs you have. If I have 12 techs, my goal today is 120 hours. Here's my question. Do your advisors know that? Do your advisors know that that's what they're looking for, is collectively to get you 120 hours? And if they're not, then we've got a big problem. They're searching for averages instead of searching for the retention. So what are you really looking for? Today's money or tomorrow's money? And have you really defined purpose, and do all things align?
Yeah, that's great, Randy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just gonna say, yeah, I believe you, because there was a lot of numbers coming at me real fast, and there was no way I was gonna be able to scribble them down. But luckily, I've seen you speak on this before. Randy Brinkman Solutions is amazing. If you ever want to bring him in as a consultant, they do an amazing job of working with dealers, and he'll slow that down a little bit. And he might even, if you ask nicely, write it down on a board for you so you can see how those numbers actually work. But thanks so much, Randy, for that. I really appreciate it.
That's very kind. Thank you.
Hey, Jason, great information from this entire panel. I want to thank all of you for participating, actively participating today with great information. Alexandra, I want to thank Ann. I want to thank Jack, Steve Hill, and Randy Brinkman, and of course, Jason Kerstetter. And I want to thank you and Scott Jardine over at Smart Tech and Dealer Profit Center for sponsoring our panel. So great work today, everybody, and appreciate all your contributions to the fixed ops community.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
It's always great to welcome back Harry Wise to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. She's the co-founder and president of the Women of Color Automotive Network. She is a best practice recipient. In fact, she ran away with the best practice award, first place at our last time that we got together in person in Las Vegas. Carrie Wise, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you, Ted. I always love being a part of this conference, and I appreciate you having me back.
You really bring the fire, and you've got a huge following, and you're so well respected in the industry. And I'm really pleased that we have a chance to talk a little bit about Women of Color Automotive Network. And you've done some great work there. And by the way, our theme today is Fast and Furious, because that's the pace at which things are happening right now in retail. And isn't this an amazing time to be in our industry?
It is. I've been in the business for 22 years, and you're so right. I think this is such an exciting time. So much change, so much evolution, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
I can't remember anything near like we're experiencing right now these last 12 months. And I think we're in for a great year. So let's start off by tell our audience a little bit about WOCAN. What inspired you to create the Women of Color Automotive Network, and what's your goal?
Yeah, well, last year was a crazy year, with the pandemic, but it also kind of heightened our sensitivities to diversity and inclusion. There was a lot of talk about racial inequality. Prior to that, there was a lot of talk with the Me Too movement and gender. And so I think we were inspired really with all that was happening last year to do something about it. And as a woman of color in this industry, I'm a unicorn, right? If I look around at all the conferences I speak, a lot of times, I'm the only one. And I created WOCAN with 3 other founders who are prominent women of color in the business. Amanda Gordon. She owns an independent dealer in Colorado, the first Black woman to ever own a dealer in the whole state a few years ago. Patrice Banks owns a service repair shop called Girls Auto Clinic in Philadelphia, unheard of as a Black woman. And we also have Erica Wells, who's a sales manager at a dealership in Atlanta. And so we came together and said, what can we do to really impact diversity in automotive and attract more talent, diverse talent to this business? And we really created WOCAN for ourselves, because I wish 22 years ago, I had a network of women that were like me, that had unique challenges. And it's really tough when you talk about multiple identities, because a lot of times we'll hear about women, or we might hear about race, or we might hear about sexuality when it comes to diversity. But when you cross multiple identities, it becomes more challenging, because in some ways, as a woman of color, we have kind of the double bind, the double barrier in terms of being women and also people of color. And so we really wanted to be intentional in creating a group that addresses those unique challenges as women of color, brings other women together so that they don't feel alone in this industry. And more important, how do we create a pipeline that attracts more women of color to this business?
I think this is the beginning, Carrie, of something great that you have created. And I think we're going to look back on it many years from now and really reflect on what you've done. Tell us, why is diversity and inclusion important in the automotive industry, and especially in the retail automotive industry?
Absolutely. And, I think the why is the hump that we all have to get over in this business. We've talked a lot about diversity and inclusion, and not all of these conversations have stuck in terms of change in the industry. The reality is that we're not more diverse now than relative to even like 5 or 10 years ago. It's not something that has evolved very fast. And I think part of the challenge is that the understanding of the why. I think some in the dealer space might look at this as a kumbaya conversation, but really what we're doing right now, this conversation we're having right now, is a business conversation. This is a strategic conversation, because the reality is that if you can attract more women of color to your dealership, you're going to attract more women, white women, you're going to attract more millennials, you're going to attract more outside of the box thinkers. Like, this is more than just having different faces that in your dealership. This is about having new mindsets. This is about disrupting your dealership so that outside disruptors don't disrupt you. And so the why is really about bringing in new mindsets that can help us be more fast and furious, as your theme is, right? That can help us progress faster. And I think that is going to set your dealership up, not for today, but for the future. And wait, can I just stop? One more thing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the customer. And this is probably the more obvious of them. The reality is your customer is diverse, right? When it comes to buying cars, a third of customers are multicultural, they're minorities. More than half are women, or more than half influence the car purchase. And when it comes to service and fixed ops, the same thing, right? And so the reality is that if your dealership doesn't have a culture that attracts and retain diverse talent, you probably don't have a culture that services the diverse customer either. So
We've
it's
had a
about
lot,
the customer.
and you know, Kerry, we've had a lot of conversations that's come up today throughout the event about the culture being so important at the dealership. And what are some of the ways that dealers can attract and retain diverse talent? How do they go about it?
Yeah, so I don't want to make this seem like a silver bullet, because the reality is that when it comes to diversity and inclusion, I don't think anybody's figured it out. And when I say anybody, I mean not just in the dealer space, the OEM space, the vendor space, everybody is grappling with this particular challenge in some ways. How do we attract more talent? And it's even more pertinent on the fixed ops side when we think about technicians and the lack of talent out there, and trying to find this, more people that are qualified in that way. And so what I would say is, first of all, just start, right? Do something tomorrow that is different than what you were doing today. You're not going to solve all of the world's problems, but you're going to start moving towards a more diverse talent base. And so let's talk about attracting. Okay. Let's take that one first.
Okay.
I would say attraction starts with how your culture is. Like, before we start talking about recruitment, the question is, if I recruit diverse talent, are they going to even stay? And so we got to look at the inside of our dealership, the culture. And I would say, number one, do you have a line drawn in terms of bad behavior? What I have seen in dealerships and really across automotive is we allow bad behavior, whether it be harassment or any kind of bad behavior, if the person's performing. We got to stop that. And we got to get rid of somebody if they cross the line in terms of culture that doesn't support women, that doesn't support minorities, that doesn't support just people in general. And we got to have that line drawn so everybody in the store knows that this is the culture, this is what we're going to accept, and this is what we're not going to accept. We also have to think about whose voices are we hearing or respecting in the store. This also applies to the corporate world. I oftentimes, when I'm in a meeting and I look around the room, and when I see that woman who is not contributing, not sharing, her voice is not being heard, she's being stepped on, I, as a leader, need to elevate her voice. And so we need to think about, as leaders, how do we use our power to elevate the voices that are not being heard, or the people that are not being seen? So it starts with culture. And if we have that culture, we're going to automatically attract. It's the law of attraction, in terms of people know when they apply to a job, when they come up to a job, and there's an energy and a culture that seems supportive of them, they're going to be more attractive. But I think in terms of being even more specific in terms of attraction, we got to think about where are we recruiting? Are we recruiting in the same places? Are we looking at our own network, which oftentimes looks the same as us? Or are we really trying to build relations outside of people who look at us? I'm always fascinated when I see women leaders, when I see minority leaders. They oftentimes have a lot more diversity than I see in companies that don't have those kind of leaders. And the reason why is the biases. They're more open, right, to people that are like them, women, other minorities. So I think we have to check our biases and look at where we're trying to attract these candidates. And lastly, we need to look at the barriers that stop applicants from applying, which often ties back to the job postings. I remember Liza Borges, you had her on one of your fixed ops events in the past, and she talked about even the service advisor position, how she removed ASC certified, which wasn't the main criteria to be a great service advisor. And all of a sudden, she started attracting more women. So a lot of times our job postings are eliminating people, or our criteria in terms of what makes a good applicant is oftentimes excluding a lot of people that could be qualified or we could train to do the job.
I have seen you personally elevate those voices that you just referred to a little while ago. So I know that you do that. And I believe that WOCAN is a great platform to elevate those voices as well. So what's next? What's next for the Women of Color Automotive Network?
Yeah, I mean, we have so much work to do. We have almost 400 members so
Wow.
far. 10% are allies, meaning they're white men and white women who just want to be a part of the conversation, want to figure out how they could help women of color. And so we'll continue to grow our membership base, have great speakers on every single month that can inspire women of color. We're also going to be working on an ally program because we had a problem we didn't expect. We had white people who wanted to be a part of WOCAN, and that was not anticipated. And so now we're thinking about how do we develop a program for allies on how they can be better allies.
Sure.
Right. And so that's going to be really huge for us. And then eventually by the end of the year, we plan on doing an in-person event. We're doing all virtual monthly events right now. But we'll have an in-person event. We plan on partnering with NAMAD, and I haven't told anybody that yet, but the National Association of Minority Auto Dealers, we're going to partner together at the end of the year in December and have an in-person event for our WOCAN members. So we're really, really excited about that. And we'll just continue to grow and partner, with great companies as well.
Carrie, how can people watching our audience get involved and support WOCAN?
Yeah. So I want to just emphasize that while Women of Color Automotive Network is geared towards women of color, we love our allies to be at this event. In fact, there's a couple of service leaders that are every month at our events, and they're white men, right? Because by the way, this is a recruitment thing for them. They want to be a part of WOCAN so they can be a part of the best talent. So I encourage you to go to WOCAutonetwork.com. That's our website. You can learn about our upcoming events. You can learn about our ally program and all our other programs like scholarships that we have coming out for our members. And we'd love for you to be a part of it. And then I just encourage you to register for our events. We have them every single month. And you'll see nothing like it in terms of inspiration and seeing these faces across OEMs, vendors, the service side, the sales side that you didn't know existed and are doing great things as women of color.
Everyone, if you want to reach out to Carrie and find out more about the Women of Color Automotive Network, as she just said, the website is listed at the bottom of the screen here. It's right on the ticker, so you can get on there. And Carrie, I would imagine you probably have a listing or an agenda of some upcoming events. I know I see them posted on LinkedIn, on social all the time.
Yeah. We just had our event this week with Janae Andrews, one of the top women salesperson, happens to be a Black woman in the industry. But yes, every single month we'll continue to have an event. So I encourage you to look for our May event and register. We'd love to have both women of color and our allies. And then you could also reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm always on there. I'd love to hear from you and just encourage this conversation. So thank you so much, Ted, for bringing this up. It's such an important topic.
Carrie, you are leading the effort. So if you don't mind, I would love to invite you back to our next event. It's going to be on June 17th. It's going to be virtual again. Fixed Ops Roundtable number 12. It's going to be called The Matrix. And I would love to have you lead a panel on this topic, if you wouldn't mind, and bring even more automotive industry to recognize and get involved and become a part of what it is that you're doing, if you don't mind.
I would love to be a part of that. Thank you so much, Ted. I appreciate you using your platform to elevate this conversation, and you're doing some great work.
All right, Carrie Wise, let's plan on it. Carrie Wise, everybody, the co-founder and president of the Women of Color Automotive Network, here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
All right, everybody. It's been a fantastic show so far, but we're not done yet, Ted.
No, we're going to do a little bit of voting now, Gene. By the way, how's my hair? Is it better?
Hey, it looks great. Yeah, that spicy, whatever it was, a spicy taco or something, really had it going.
I know. I was thinking of Cinco de Mayo. That's still like 2 weeks away.
Hey, Kara, how are you? How's your day been?
It's been busy. A lot of great things happening at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Absolutely. Done a great job.
Right.
All right. So folks, hey, I've been putting in the chat box the survey code for you to click and vote. Let me go ahead and share the QR code one more time.
Last call. Okay, last chance to vote.
Last chance right here. So there it is. It's right there
All right.
for you. You can open up your camera. You can point it right at the QR code. It'll take you right there. You can vote for up to 5 people.
All right, everyone.
Everybody go vote.
Yeah,
Say
go
it again,
vote.
Kara. I didn't hear.
What'd you just say, Kara?
I said, everybody go vote.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, you can vote for up to 5, right, Ted?
Yeah, up to 5 people can only vote once. And okay, I'm watching the totals come in here, so it's going up a little bit. We've had a lot of votes during the day already, Kara. So it's we're pretty close. I think give it another 30 seconds here and see what comes in.
Hey,
But,
so as Ted is tallying the votes, Kara, what's your background? How long you been with Henson brand?
I believe about a year and 7 months.
Okay. And how did you end up getting involved with social media?
Well, I actually did a lot of public speaking in high school, actually, that had to do with agriculture, which led me to get the degree that I did from Texas Tech University in ag communications. And then after I graduated, I was planning on going to law school. I took my LSAT down in Houston, met up with a family friend after that was actually working at the dealership at the time. And so a few days later, I interviewed with Eric, just thinking I needed a job to pass the time before I went to law school. But as you guys know, I love my job so much that I pushed law school back for now.
So, I'm not sure if you know this or not, Kara, but you're stuck now. I mean, all of us who are on this show who have been in automotive, you are stuck in automotive for the rest of your life.
It's addicting, for sure.
Well, it's just, it's
Right.
just such a great thing. How are we doing, Ted?
We got the votes. We're in. Kara, you should have them. I sent them over to you. So that's the voting. Kara's going to call it out. We got the top 5 voters, top 5 vote getters, and there's no ties this time. It's pretty cut and dry. So
All right,
Kara,
cool.
go ahead.
Here we
Call 'em
go.
out. Who we got?
All right. Best Practice Award winners for today. Number 5, Rob Sebastian.
Wow,
Robert.
Robert Sebastian. Great job. That's
Great job,
awesome.
Robert.
Good job, Robert. Fun.
Let's see. 4, we have Art Shaw with Repair Pal.
Woo, all right.
Wow.
I saw. Nice job, Art.
It's great.
Great. And very
And-
deserving, both of them.
The 3rd, we have Randy Brinkman.
Look at that, right? Ask
Right
the
on,
expert.
Randy.
Congratulations, Randy. Yeah, good. Great.
Okay.
Robert and Art and Randy. Okay, cool.
2 more.
The second to last, Owen Moon, Fixed Ops Digital.
Woohoo!
Very
Good job, Owen.
Owen, finally.
Yeah. Great job, man. Great
great job.
presentation today, too.
And last but not least,
Number 1.
Number 1.
Jim Roche with War Cloud.
All
Right on.
right. Jim Roche.
As it
job.
should go for the keynote speaker, right?
As it should. Yeah.
If they haven't won before, I mean, that's why we call them a keynote.
Yep. All right. So Robert Sebastian, Art Shaw from Repair Pal, Randy Brinkman Solutions, Owen Moon, Fixed Ops Digital, and Jim Roche. I see you there in the chat. There you go. Wow.
Good
thank
job,
you,
man.
everybody. Way to go,
Congratulations.
Jim. Yep.
That's awesome.
Jim Roche from War Cloud, number 1, ran away
Yeah.
with the Best Practice Award. So what we're going to do is, courtesy of our friends at Ink Centric, Allison Landis is going to go ahead and produce those awards. We're going to
Great
get them
job.
all out to the winners. I'm going to ask Robert, Art, Randy, Owen, and Jim, if you wouldn't mind, when you get the awards, take a picture of yourself holding it up and let's post it on social media. And we'll ask you to do that for us. So thank you so much. Gene, I also want to thank Taylor Sue from Update Promise because she has been busy all day sending these texts out to everybody
That's right.
and coordinating the timing. So Taylor, if you're there, thank you so much for all you do for the industry and for Update Promise for sharing your platform with us here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. It's a great platform.
Yeah, and all the new people who attended, it was awesome. New speakers, Mike Vogel, thank you so much for what you did. And I have a special announcement. As we're growing, Ted, it was time this time to hand off part of my duties. And so not only, in the past, I've done directing, producing, and all the editing. And this time I handed that off to someone I've known very well for quite some time.
I think he went to Japan with us, didn't he? Spent a couple
He
weeks
did
with
go
us
to
there.
Japan with us. That's right. It's my oldest son, Bryce. He did all the editing for the show today. And you're going to get a taste of his final stuff here in just a few seconds.
Yeah, stick around for that, everybody. Great job, Bryce Girdley. Thank you for doing that today.
Yeah.
So, now, Gene, do I get to hand off some of my stuff?
Hand off your stuff, man.
Okay. All right, good. All right. Anyway, we're coming back, everybody. We're going to see you in June on the 17th. The event theme is the Matrix. It's all going to be about technology and new technologies and trends and fixed ops. You do not want to miss it. It's going to be a great event. And we have already opened up enrollment. You may have gotten the email earlier today. And it's called, like I said, Fixed Ops Roundtable, the Matrix. The URL is fixedopsmatrix.com. And although I can't see it, I know it's there somewhere.
Well, it's going to be there in a minute. If you want me to actually pull that up, let me go ahead and give you that one in a different screen here. Hold on just a second.
All right.
I can pull that up. It's actually at the end of the show.
I'm messing with the producer.
So,
This-
yeah, messing with the producer here. Give me just a second here while I open it up for you. All right. Let's see. There it is. All right. There we go.
Yep. Okay, there it is. Thursday, June 17th, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern. It's a virtual event, an escape to a new reality, the Matrix.
Yeah.
So we'll see
Yeah.
everybody there.
Yep.
Very cool.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So thank you everybody for joining us today. We're really blessed beyond words. So thanks.
Thank you very much, everybody.
All right.
Thanks again for joining us at Fixed Ops Roundtable number 11. And be sure to join us for our next event coming your way in June.
That's right. For Ted, Gene, Cara, and all of us at Fixed Ops Roundtable, I'm Ben Price. And hey, don't forget to reach out to me. Go to benpricecomedy.com and I'd love to do some comedy or MC for your next virtual event. Thanks for watching. And remember, we'll be back.